welcome back, dear viewers. And today we are talking about the Grand Egyptian Museum. And today we are pleased to be joined by Dr. Mahmoud Hallouji. He's former director of the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. Thanks very much, Dr. Mahmoud, for joining us on Nile Cruise today.
Thank you so much, and thanks for all audience.
Mahmoud, in today's segment, we will speak about tourism and the Grand Egyptian Museum impact on tourism. First of all, I would like to know, I would like you to give us an overview of the Grand Egyptian Museum and its role on showcasing Egypt's ancient heritage.
Let me tell you something that with the new millennium in 2002, when we celebrated the centenary of the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square, since the museum was suffering of the crowdness of artifacts, display, as well as crowdness in Tahrir Square, which affects negatively to the tourism, and the museum was no space for new discoveries and so on. So Ministry of Culture during the centenary of the Egyptian Museum celebration launched an international competition for a mega project, culture project. Egypt wants to present for the whole world a mega cultural project, which is the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza Plateau. So since that time, the competition was declared, and the winning was declared about 2005, and they started to build the Grand Egyptian Museum. Since that time, the museum passed by many different stages, which affects in inauguration the new Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza, such as revolution of 2011, as well as Ukrainian war and COVID-19. All these aspects affected in the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. And the Grand Egyptian Museum will showcase the heritage of Egypt in a modern way, with new lighting system, with new showcases to display the artifacts, with facilities for the visitors, which may give the visitors a chance to see everything about the civilization of ancient Egypt. And I think the official inauguration will be on end of 2024, or maximum beginning of 2025. For 1 year ago, the Grand Egyptian Museum was already waiting for the inauguration, official inauguration, because the inauguration will be an iconic festival for the worldwide, and many visitors, VIP visitors, will be invited for this celebration. So from the last year, the museum declared for the promotional opening for the museum, so the visitor can able to access the museum and to see the facilities of the museum for the visitors, as well as the main entrance and the main hall, the grand staircase, gallery, and as well as the commercial area of the museum, which facilitates the visit for the visitors, like bookshops, like restaurants, coffee shops, and souvenir shops and bookshop and see all elements of the Grand Museum, which will help the visitors to see the mega project. It's not only a museum, actually, it will be a huge cultural project for the whole world.
And sir, how do you view the influence of the Grand Egyptian Museum on the tourism sector, especially after the expected capacity of the museum, which will reach 5 million persons?
This is a good question. I think with official inauguration, the all elements of the museum will be ready to receive the visitors, and also the celebration of inauguration will also help in sending a message for the whole world and for the whole visitors to come to Egypt, since Egypt is already a dream for each person all over the world to come and to see Egypt and its treasures and its archaeology and ancient civilization. So I think the capacity of the museum will reach the 5 million visitors annually, even more I believe, and I think so, because of the the treasures which will be displayed in the museum. The museum will house about 100,000 of real artifacts representing one only civilization, which is the ancient Egyptian civilization, and this will make the museum distinct among the whole world museums, which is most of the museums around the world displays different cultures, different civilization, or of the whole world in one museum, while the Grand Egyptian Museum will only display the ancient Egyptian civilization, which might make this facility and capacity will reach the target number, and even more I believe in recently, I mean nearly after the official inauguration of the museum, since now it is only a promotional opening, and the visitor can only see one or two or three galleries, but at the same time within 1 or 2 days another galleries will be open for the visitors. This also will enrich the visit and also will make the visitor enjoy their visits to the the Grand Egyptian Museum until the official opening of the museum.
Okay, sir, would you tell us more about the unique features of the Grand Egyptian Museum, which set it apart from other museums in the world?
Of course, the Grand Egyptian Museum will be a unique museum and a unique cultural center among all the museums over the world, since it will display the different eras of the ancient Egyptian civilization, since the early beginning, since prehistory and the pre-dynastic period, and the historic period which started in 2000, I mean 5300 BC, when Egypt declared the unity between Upper and Lower Egypt, and this was the first political unification around the world, the ancient world. So it will display the historic period started with the first dynasty when King Narmer first united between Upper and Lower Egypt, and then displays archaic Egypt, which displays the history of the first and second dynasty, then moving to Old Kingdom and the period of pyramids started with the third dynasty with the state pyramid in Saqqara and the full and complete pyramids in Giza in fourth dynasty, as well as the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom and the late period of Egypt and the end of the Pharaonic era of Egypt when Alexander the Great came over Egypt and started Egypt became under the Greek emperor and so on. This whole history of the display of the artifacts in the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza Plateau.
And sir, the museum will showcase 5,000 relics from Tutankhamun's collection, including many artifacts on display for the first time. How will this affect the flow of tourism to Egypt and the impact of this?
Reflect and the visitors and will attract many visitors to come to Egypt. I would like to tell you that the first thing that when we decided to build a new museum was to transfer the whole collection of King Tutankhamun from Tahrir Square to the Grand Egyptian Museum to attract many visitors to the new Grand Museum, since most of visitors, they like to see the treasures of the young boy Tutankhamun. This was the smallest discovered tomb, a royal tomb in Valley of Kings in Luxor, and this was the only royal tomb which discovered intact, and it was only the smallest tomb in the Valley of Kings compared with other tombs discovered unfortunately completely empty. So the tomb was housing about 500 pieces only belongs to King, the young King Tutankhamun, which the era of his reign was only about 9 years. He ruled Egypt when he was 9 years old and ruled for 9 years and died suddenly when he was about 18 years old. So since the discovery of King Tutankhamun tomb in 1922 by Howard Carter, so the museum and the objects in the museum when transferred from Luxor to Cairo Museum in 1924, so which what's amazing display objects for the whole world, especially the gold mask of the king, the gold throne of the king, and the golden coffin of the king. All these artifacts attracts more visitors to Egypt. Can you imagine that only a quarter of the 5,000, almost 400 pieces, only the third of these pieces only was on display in Cairo Museum in Tahrir Square? And can you imagine when the visitor can able to see the 5,400 pieces on display? This will, I think, not only the visitors but also the scholars, the researchers, the students, the interested visitor of ancient arts, ancient archaeology, and history. They will be happy to see each little piece in this collection of King Tutankhamun. This will help, I think, the whole world to come to see the museum, the Grand Egyptian Museum, and also the complete artifacts of the smallest royal tomb discovered in Valley of Kings in Luxor, or the tomb of King Tutankhamun, which discovered in 1922.
Okay. And what can visitors expect during the trial opening of the museum?
They can see much more artifacts.
Are there any specific highlights?
Of course, I would like to tell you that the recent discovery in Egypt, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities decided to display the whole modern and recent discoveries in the Grand Egyptian Museum, such as the golden coffins of Saqqara and the many and several tombs recently discovered from Giza and Saqqara and Luxor and Aswan. They will be on display in the Grand Egyptian Museum, and this will, I think, will make the visitors in a hurry to see such magnificent highlighted objects, as well as the facilities of the museum for the visitors will also help the visitors to come to Egypt to see the iconic museum and iconic cultural center of the whole world, the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza Plateau.
Okay, Dr. Mahmoud Al-Hallouji, former director of the Egyptian Museum, thanks so much for joining us on Nile Cruise.
Thank you so much.